All right, we are back. This is week 9 edition of We All Gamble, powered by Mayflower Sports. I am Andrew. I've got Jake over here, Noah with me. No Thursday night football this week for us. We are recording this on a Thursday, but of course we'll have the rest of the primetime games and many more best bets for this week. So looking forward to the slate. I can't believe how fast time has gone by, guys. The fact that we're here in week 9, and I'm proud of us, actually. We've been doing this since week 1. We haven't missed a week. We've been pretty consistent. And, you were talking about it, Jake, before, I think, about this is kind of the time that people start to fade out. College basketball starting, NBA, NHL, and, you can kind of find those hidden gems in the NFL.
Yeah, it's been a fucking battle, though, the last couple of weeks. I'm not going to lie. I was almost on the verge of fading out, but quitters never win, so I'm locked in. I'm ready to get back on the horse and go at it. Last week was a 500 week for me. Obviously, like to be plus money, but last week, we came out unscathed. That's what we'll say.
How you doing, Noah?
I had a terrible week. I had a terrible week again. I'm starting to get pretty annoyed with myself with picking sides, so this week I'm going to stay away from picking too many sides. Usually I'm good against the spreads. This year hasn't been it for me. Especially with this week with all the weird QB matchups we have. So definitely not really sure where to go with some of these, but definitely more on some team totals. We'll kind of and overs and unders. So we'll get into it here in a second. I'm excited for another week.
And some good games, too. We were talking about it before we started off. A big game, obviously, over in Germany to start the week off, and then a great game to end the week. So, and to be honest with you guys, I'm kind of happy we aren't talking about the Thursday night game. Obviously, when this is released, the game will be over, but it's not really much of a game to talk about between the Titans and Steelers. So.
I'm all over the Titans, baby. I'm all over the Titans.
All right. Declaring the pick. So we'll see what happens. When people are listening to this, they'll know if you were a genius or not so much.
I couldn't put myself through the pain of betting on one of these teams. So
I'm on the under.
Do the under. Do all the things you wouldn't want to, because let's be honest, halftime I'm probably gonna be in bed.
Let's jump into it though. Let's go right into some of our favorite picks. What do you guys have?
All right, I'll start us off, I guess. Can't not bet this game, I don't think. The 10:30 game, I think you'll be a fool if you don't start your day betting this out. This is obviously one of the games of the week, but I'm going Dolphins money line, boys. I'm definitely taking the money line. I actually really like the under, surprisingly. Obviously, 2 high-powered offenses, but I think with the time travel, playing in a new stadium, playing on the obviously the grass surface for soccer is a lot different than it is for football. I think that could really hinder the points. But I just like Miami right now. Tyreek Hill's an automatic lock every week to score, and this is a Tyreek Hill revenge game, so I just like what they're doing. I think the Chiefs' defense has been way better than people expected this year, but this is a matchup where you come up against a high-powered offense, and the Dolphins can put up points, and I know if you're betting this game, you're probably on the Chiefs because of the spot. Coming off a loss against a Broncos team that sucks ass. It is a really good spot for the Chiefs as well, but I don't know what it is this week. I just believe in Tua, Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, Raheem Mostert. I think is going to get a lot of carries this week, and I just think on offense, the Dolphins have more weapons.
The Chiefs didn't look right to me, and I know I'm Mr. Bounce Back, and I like to try and take the team off a loss, but I actually would side with you. If I'm playing that game, I'm taking the Fins, but do you have anything in that game or anything?
I just, like I've been saying all year, I'm going to bet on Tyreek Hill's overs until it stops cashing. It's basically been cashing every single week, and they haven't really moved his receiving yards too much. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten the Justin Jefferson treatment of last year, where Justin Jefferson's lines towards the end of the year were getting 110 yards a game. Tyreek right now is 92.5 for his over. That would be my easy pick because I like you said, Jake, revenge game. He addressed it today. He said they're gonna get. I forget exactly what his quote was, but he very well knows that he wants a big game here. I just like the overs for Tyreek, and I do like it for Travis Kelce too because I think kind of ties in with the Tyreek conversation that the Chiefs need another weapon now. They really don't have another option besides Travis Kelce to go to, and that's what's going to hurt the Chiefs ultimately in this game. So if I do like actually the Finns as well. So I'm not gonna bet on the money line because I'm just really excited to see the game. It'll be more player props for me, but Tyreek Hill if anything.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just to add, I know you probably got something to add too. I was talking to a guy at work today, and he actually had a really interesting point, and Andy Reid's never been a believer in star wide receivers. If you go back to his time in Philly, never really had too many star wide receivers, and when they got to a certain pinnacle of it's time to get paid, he was willing to let them go. If you look at Jeremy Maclin, Deshaun Jackson, obviously now Tyreek Hill, the only star wide receiver he was ever willing to like bring into a core was Terrell Owens. And like that was kind of a problem, but he took us to a Super Bowl. So it's kind of funny how his offense is always just kind of tick along and they're always one of the best in the league, but he never seems to really care for a quote unquote diva wide receiver, a guy that knows he's number one on the team. And obviously Travis Kelce you can consider a wide receiver, but I think his mannerisms are a little bit different. He's a little bit more grit and grind like a traditional tight end would be than a wide receiver. But I just thought that was
too. He doesn't care if he doesn't have a big game.
Sometimes. Yeah, and I just thought that was interesting when I started thinking about it. I was like, actually, you're right. Like every time someone gets going in an Andy Reid offense as at the wide receiver position, he's willing to just let them go.
I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now it's just showing a lot. I mean, it really showed in that Denver game. I mean, Travis Kelce gets it going at the start. Teams start to kind of adjust, get kind of on him, start doubling him a little bit. The other players aren't really getting open. Like it's just kind of showing this year. I think the Chiefs will be fine even if they do end up losing this. If they do lose this game, like I think they're going to be fine. I think they still go far. It's just. It is tough. It's the weirdest look of the Chiefs offense I've seen. The most inconsistent, I guess I would say.
One thing I heard, like I think this is kind of funny, like there's like some angle. The team that arrives in a Europe game first wins at like an alarming rate. The Dolphins arrive first.
Come on.
They're playing left first. So.
Mike McDaniels knows. He knows. Analytics. Big analytics guy.
He's like, yeah, we got to get on the road.
Yeah, we got to be there early. No, but I think this is actually this has potential to be the game of the week. I know I said I like the under, but that doesn't mean it still can't be a really good game. But I'm excited to finally see two like powerhouse teams playing in Europe just to see what it's kind of like to maybe be like, you know what, NFL, like if you're going to do these games, like let's start getting some better teams over there. Like obviously the Jags are really good, but like the teams that they were playing, like they were good, but they're not, name brand teams right now in the NFL that are at the pinnacle, and they're all teams that you could be like, oh, like they could go to the Super Bowl. They could go to the Super Bowl. So I'm hoping this is a good game to show the NFL, like, let's start getting more of these types of matchups over there.
Over there, yeah. I saw I can't remember which player it was, but there was a quote. Some KC player got asked, like, hey, what are your thoughts about being in Germany? He goes, I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't even want to be there. So hopefully they give us a good game because some of them apparently don't even want to be there.
You got your routines and you got your stuff like going, on like a 6-hour, 8-hour flight somewhere else to play in another place where it's realistically it's mid-afternoon there, but it's middle of the morning here.
Right. And it's not a vacation,
it really throws
right?
it really throws everything off. It throws off your preparation. So I could see as a player not really liking it.
And you're kind of losing a home game. Like, it's a Chiefs home game, but, like, it's no real – I mean, I know, you can't really buy into home field advantage too much, but there is something to be said about leaving the game and driving right home as opposed to just having to actually still get on a plane and go all the way.
Well, I was listening to a podcast the other day. There was, like, an NBA player and an NHL player together, and they were saying, like, they were asking each other, have you guys ever been to this city? Have you ever been to that city? And they were like, obviously, I'm not talking about with your team, like with your wife and your family. Because when they go to these cities, they're not actually in the city a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like maybe they have a couple dinner spots they go to, but realistically, they've never actually toured around. You know what I mean? Like they're going to Germany, but they're not really going to Germany. They're going to that stadium and their hotel and maybe a few spots, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not really touring around. So I could get why it'd be kind of annoying. Like a little bit different if you're there for a week and a half or something like that, right? Preseason.
Yeah. Definitely, but just to reiterate, we had a nice little in-depth conversation about that. I actually like that. But Dolphins money line, I think I'm the only one on this game, and then Noah obviously said over on Tyreek's everything. So
and he's had a good track record.
Anytime you say over on a player's everything, it's actually hit. So let's hear your first pick. Or was that an actual official?
No,
okay.
I won't. I really like it, but I'm not going to put it as my actual pick because I figured somebody was on that game. But yeah, I don't really, I'm not going to lock that in as one of the picks. I got some other ones that I think I like, but I'll go now. First one of my picks, I really like the Baltimore Ravens and Seahawks over. It's at 44 right now. I was just looking into these teams. I mean, the unders I think the unders are 71, 50, and 2 this year. So the unders have definitely been winning. But I looked at these two teams. We all know the Seahawks have a great offense. They're averaging about 24 points a game. Baltimore's offense this year, too, like Lamar has looked the best from the pocket he has all year. I think they're averaging about 25 points a game. Obviously, some games have been on a little bit under that every now and then, but I really like both of these teams. Seattle's defense hasn't been incredible this year, so I definitely believe Baltimore is going to put up points. And I've never really seen under this Geno Smith Seahawks team, I've never really seen the Seahawks score under, like they've never really dropped a dud. So as long as the Seahawks can even score 15 points in this game, I fully expect Baltimore to carry the load offensively in this. So maybe that's a notion to maybe take Baltimore in the game, but spread's a little bit big. I just like the total over 44 in this one.
I feel like you've taken some overs involving those teams before, and I like it because I feel like you're not getting your 51.5s or your 48.5s with those teams. So I like it. Hopefully we see some points in that one. Henry's making his weekly appearance onto the show.
Honestly, this was one of the games when we showed up here, I was like, I like so many games this week. This was one of the games that I actually really liked, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to stay off of it because I also had the same thought process. I was like, someone's definitely going to be on this. But I really like this game, and I think this could be a sneaky game where a lot of offense, like you said, happens. Both teams are kind of clicking offensively right now. The overs, I think, is basically just going to come down to what type of Geno Smith you get and what type of Lamar Jackson you're going to get. If you get both of them on their A game, this point total, I think, is going to sail over.
Yeah, I mean, again, I just think both of these offenses are super consistent. In the past years, I haven't been the biggest Lamar guy in the world. I have been one of those people that I have to see him really pass from the pocket more, and he has done that this year. And I think after watching him play Detroit, the way they beat Detroit and how he looked from the pocket, I was like, I'm officially a Lamar Jackson guy now. I love what he's able to do, and I've loved Geno ever since he's been on the Seahawks. So. I'm gonna hammer it this week.
I love it. I'm going to speaking of hammering, I can't believe I'm thinking about making one of my better bets on a Patriots team that's constantly let people down all year. But looking at scheduling and how this Patriots team started off their season, we had Eagles, Dolphins, Jets. We'll give them a break for that one. Then Cowboys. A little bit of a break, and then the Bills. It has not been easy. I mean, we talked about it before. You were actually educating me on how it works with the schedule makers, but they had a really tough start to their season as far as scheduling goes, and it's about to get easier. You got the Commanders on deck, obviously, who we're betting against. Then you've got the Colts, then the Giants. And I've talked about, separating the NFL season into quadrants, into rounds of, 3s or 4s or whatever. This, to me, is a time where the Patriots could actually get hot and pick things up. Obviously, with the Commanders, getting rid of key players, key defensive players as well. They already weren't even playing well defensively with those guys. That's the crazy thing. They were giving up points to teams. Kendrick Bourne's injured for the Patriots, but realistically, that team doesn't really have a star. Let's be honest. Yeah. They could pick up someone off the street, and Bill will give them a few catches. -3 for me and the Patriots. This is a bet on spot. I'm taking the Patriots to get it done. The Commanders, to me, are on full fade mode. I've had success taking them around +7, +8.5, that range. But when you give me, the -3 here on a Patriots team that no one's respecting right now, based on the start of their season they've had, not over the past few weeks and the projected, I feel like this is a good time to get on them. So
it's funny about that game too that obviously they've been giving up a lot of points to Commanders, but the pass rush has been the best part of their defense. Their D-line has been far and away the best part of their team, and they were just forget it. We'll let our best 2 pass rushers go, and we'll figure it out. Yeah. So I think they're in full let's get like Caleb Williams, Derek May, or Shador Sanders. Like, let's get a new. Obviously, Sam Howell's played well, but I don't think he's the solution. I think he's had realistically like 2 good games against the Eagles, and that's kind of it. You know, he's been mediocre at times, and other times he's been god awful. So I think they're definitely in full tank mode, and I'm with you. Like, you might as well just fade them for the rest of the season, and if you lose, then so be it.
And the Patriots have looked bad in some games, but at least the games that they've looked pretty piss poor in were against good teams.
Really good teams, yeah. You know? I think it's going to be one of those things where the Patriots, like, if they play a team that's at their, like, kind of competition level, they'll be in the game. They might win some, they might lose some, but if they play any sort of team that's, you know, remotely better than them, they're definitely going to struggle. Right. But I really like that pick, too. That was another game. Like, I told you, when I walked in here, I liked a lot of stuff this week. I liked the Patriots a lot this week, too. But I guess we all ran through our first game. I might as well give our second pick. Going back to the well here, I've had 2 teams this year that have, every time I've bet on them, they've absolutely disappointed me on the money line. I'm taking these guys on the spread, but Texans absolutely have killed me this year. Every time I pick them, they lose on a walk-off field goal. Fuck them. I like CJ Stroud, but fuck them. I'm sick of the Texans. And the Colts. The Colts have killed me a couple times this year, but I'm going back to the well. I'm going Colts -2.5. I really don't care that the Panthers won last week and they were the walk-off winner against Houston. I'm coming back for a revenge game. I'm taking the Colts out of pure spite. I think Gardner Minshew actually has looked way better than people thought. They're the only team in the NFL so far this year that in every game have put up over 20 points. So if you like the Colts to win, could be a nice little same game parlay and take their team total as well. I think Carolina got super lucky last week. Houston really underperformed, and it was one of the few games where Bryce Young didn't turn the ball over. So I don't really see that happen this week. I think the Colts defense is middle of the pack, but I think it's been a little bit of an underperforming defense this year. Colts usually have a really statistically good defense. So I'm going back to the well with the boys. Gardner Minshew's actually been able to get Michael Pittman involved, which last year he was an absolute shit show. To start the year with Anthony Richardson, he really wasn't getting used. Josh Downs, I really like this kid. I think he's a slot guy in the come up. He can also have that outside breakaway speed. It gives him a legitimate number 2 option. And then you got Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor in the backfield. I think that offense is just going to kind of overwhelm Carolina. And I could actually see this being more of like a 6-7 point win versus the 2.5 I'm getting spotted.
That's one of my plays, and I'm not going to force another one. I already have my 3 plus the primetime games. I love everything. I was going to say pretty much everything he said. So Carolina ranks 31st in the league in total yards per game. That 20-plus stat, I was going to say the exact same thing. I think the Colts are like 12th or 13th in total yards per game combined. Jonathan Taylor is going to absolutely feast. I think I'm going to take him like milestone prop on 365, 100-plus yards or something like that. And I think that you look at Carolina, if I'm not mistaken, they were coming off the bye, weren't they?
So they actually, in their last game, they came off the bye, yeah.
So they had a week to prepare for that game. Barely squeak it out in what was like the shit bowl of the week. And, you know,
I still lost it though.
Or sorry, yeah.
I still lost it. They won. I still lost it. I can't. We were fucking fuck the Texans, man.
But yeah, I'm on this game too, but not the same way. Not the same way. So I don't want to screw everyone over. Because every time me and Jake are on the same exact pick, I sell it somehow. So I'm actually on the over in this game. The over total at 44 as well, just like the Seahawks. And the reason why, Colts, one of the better offenses in the league actually this year. They're, I think, 6th overall in points average this game at 25.6. So they're putting up points in a lot. And they're actually last in the league for giving up points too, though, at the same time. So with that being said, I definitely see the Colts putting up way more than I think Carolina will, because I think their offense is that much more sophisticated. I think they're just a better team overall. Carolina hasn't really been putting it together, but the Colts like to give up a lot of points too. Like, I look back at that game where it was Cleveland, Indianapolis, and I just took the under in that game thinking, oh, God, like, Gardner Minshew.
I think I tailed you on this game.
Gardner Minshew was coming in. P.J. Walker, who's going to really be putting up points? All of a sudden, it gets to like a 70-point game total. I'm like, all right. It was the bet. It went over in the first half, and I was like, what is going on here? I started looking at the Colts more. for some reason, yeah, their offense is just one of the elite offenses in the league, but their defense, they've only been losing because they give up a ton. So I do like the over. I think you guys have sold me a bit more. Might even be a double play of picking that spread because, again, like I just really like the Colts offense. Carolina, I thought they'd still be completely defeated. They came out with that win last week, which just kind of means they're probably going to come right back down to earth and still suck.
Yeah.
I was debating between either fading Carolina or taking the over. I think they're both great plays because I think both teams can give up points. I just trusted the Colts to score more and kind of be the last team to score in that game.
And it kind of goes to your point, too, with if you like the Panthers, like, you might as well just take a gamble on Thielen. Like, obviously, last week was, like, the first week since, like, week 1 where he didn't really have that good of a week. And he still had an okay week, but it was nothing spectacular to ride home about. But this is a matchup where he can feast on receptions, he can feast on yards, and he could definitely get in the end zone. So I think
throw the ball a lot.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, like, if we're going with your train of thought, that's actually, I think, a very good train of thought. If you like a team that sucks, like, just take their star wide receiver to be over on everything, and whatever's going to cash is whatever's going to cash. But I honestly think that this is a three-way cash. Like, we're going to cash, I think you're going to cash. I think the Colts easily put up 30 points on the Panthers. Probably going to live to, eat these words, because anytime I say easily with anything, it always loses. But I definitely think that. But since we all got through our second pick that quick, which is kind of crazy, let's jump into everybody's third pick here. No way I was not betting on this game this week. This is my early season Super Bowl. I'm already jacked up for it. Been shit talking at work.
Oh, man.
I'm going Eagles -3.
No.
I'm going Eagles -3. I've been shit talking at work all week. I hate the Cowgirls. Dak in the big moments is always the smallest human being in the NFL. Really don't think their offense is that good. Tony Pollard's been an absolute bust this year. Our defensive line is one of the best, and we're one of the best run-stopping defenses in the league. So for me, it makes me think that we're gonna turn Dallas one-dimensional, but we have been a little shaky, giving up, yards to wide receivers. But I think, Byard coming in, Darius Slay's healthy, James Bradbury's healthy. We got mostly everybody back. We're still missing a couple nickel guys. But I think it's just a game where we're just an absolute nightmare of a matchup for Dallas. We're going to turn them one-dimensional, and we're really just going to put it on them. I don't think it's going to be that high of a scoring game because Dallas's defense is really good too. And our offense has been a little suspect this year, but I think this could be a game where, Jalen's amped up, point to prove, let's get after it. The boys put up points. And then I haven't done this yet this year unless it's a Thursday nighter, but I'm also going to throw in a second pick. I'm going to go A.J. Brown over 5.5 receptions. That line hasn't moved all year, which is crazy to me. The guy's has the longest active streak for 125 plus yards in a game.
It's crazy.
You need to put up catches to get those sort of numbers. So if that trend is going to kind of continue, he's going to get the ball. And I think Jalen Hurts last year, like Devontae Smith a lot. Devontae Smith caught more balls than A.J. Brown last year. But this year, he's really separated himself as the number one, the de facto number one. It's not a 1A and 1B anymore. It's a 1 and a 2. And A.J. Brown's going to continue to go hard against them. And I really don't think that they have an answer for A.J. Brown.
I'll follow right up. Can't believe it, but we are on the same. I'm Philadelphia -3 for me against Dallas. You basically hit everything on the head, and for me, it's a matchup thing. I think Philadelphia is such a ground and pound, rough, like old school football team. And I don't think that's what Dallas is. I think Dallas is more trying to be like a more air raid style offense. I think they're better when they have the run game working in their favor. But as you said, Tony Pollard really hasn't been there. And even last year, he was kind of more of like a dual threat, catch a lot of balls back. Like his receiving and rushing attempts, like that kind of, like those lines kind of did the best for him last year. And he hasn't really been there this year. I just agree with everything you said. Dak seems to never really play up to his potential in these big-time games. The Eagles know they have to win. Like, Eagles have obviously had a great season so far, but people still doubt them. There's still that weird doubt because, like, people don't put them in the conversation of one of the best teams in the league. It's been, people talked about the Niners, the Chiefs. Eagles just are being that low-key team. They're just winning games, and no one's really saying anything. So I love the Eagles this week. I think Dallas is kind of on that weird upward trend where everyone's saying, oh, Dallas, Super Bowl team for Dallas, Super Bowl team for Dallas. And then all of a sudden, I'm just going to wait for Monday and watch Stephen A. laugh in the camera on Sunday night before I turn on this Bills-Bengals games of him laughing and going, just when you thought the Cowboys were going to start doing well, they come right back down to earth. So I love it. I do like the A.J. Brown toss in there as well. I honestly just like even just the rushing game that's going to happen for the Eagles. I don't know which person to pick on it. Like, I'm not really going to be good for player props in this game, but I just love this Eagles team. I think they'll definitely handedly beat the Cowboys.
If you're going to take a rushing prop, you might as well just take Hurts to get in the end zone. Like, it's not a rushing prop, but like,
yeah,
He's been so money, like, inside of 2 yards, and it seems like it's happened so much. Like, how many times have me and you been watching the game, and it's just like someone's about to get in, and they go down to the 1 or 2 yard line, just like, oh, well, Hurts anytime catches. Yeah, it was sick. Yeah. But that just adds another wrinkle in, and I think that makes the tush push even better because you're like, well, I can't completely sell it on this because last week we saw that. But I think we're starting to get it together. We're going to be dynamic this week, and I think you're right. I think it is going to be a real ground and pound type of offense that's going to open up the play action a lot. And I don't want to jinx it, but I have a hard time seeing us losing this game. I think if we had an ideal matchup, the Commanders are a grit and grind type of team, so like that kind of doesn't bode well for us. It makes a tougher matchup. But when you have a team like Dallas, I think that kind of like fits into the exact type of team that we want to play.
Well, I heard something today that was really interesting is that for some reason Micah Parsons is obviously an incredible talent, one of the best D linemen we have in the league right now, but he does play pretty small when it comes to these bigger matchups. Like, he hasn't really shown that, like, Micah, like, your all-time D lineman game against, like, a team like the 49ers, like the Eagles. Like, this is going to be a big prove-it game for Micah to me. Like, I think Micah is one of the best players in the league right now, but can he play in the big moments? And that's just like Dak.
The other thing, too, is he loves to talk shit about the Eagles. He loves to hate on us. Last week was fucking Christ. Sorry, boys. Not
We're watching Thursday Night Football.
And I'm on the Titans heavy. That's fucking terrible to see that opening drive touchdown. But Micah loves to talk crap about the Eagles. And then 2 weeks ago was like the first week where he was like, oh, yeah, like, the Eagles are looking good. They're probably going to be one of the better teams. It's like, keep that same energy that you've had the last 2 years where you just want to crap on us. Like, just because you see us coming up on the schedule, I don't want none of that respect stuff. I want you to keep saying the stuff you were saying. But I think you're right. There was an article, and there was a couple people that brought it up that, in the big games, Micah does disappear too, and that might just be, the Dallas Cowboys DNA. But I won't take up the whole time talking about the Eagles because I got so much stuff to say. Like, one last thing I'll say is I don't know if you guys saw the clip where last week we scored the go-ahead touchdown against Washington, and Jalen's kind of jogging off the sideline, and Sirianni's like running out at him, and he's like, that's why I trust you. That's why I trust you. And Jalen just kind of like doesn't even stop. He's like, yeah, you probably should, and just keeps jogging by, and I'm like, damn, that's a dude that's like, low-key, you haven't played the best this year, but you're still feeling yourself. Like, you don't need that kind of pump up. Like, you know who you are and what you're capable of, and you don't need someone to tell you that they trust you. Like, they just should trust you.
It's almost like
he better be happy he trusts AJ Brown.
Yeah, that too. AJ Brown is
making him look good.
What a guy. What an absolute guy that is, like, to have on your team. Like, the Titans are, I just don't get it. I don't get what the Titans did getting rid of him like that and then drafting a guy that said could be at the next A.J. Brown. He is not. Treylon Burks is not the next A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Treylon Burks isn't fucking, I don't even know at this point.
You can't even say he's a poor man's version of him.
Yeah, not even. That's what I was going to try to even say that. And I was like, I can't even say that. It's not even a fair comparison even then. But yeah, I think Jalen's also just angry because it's kind of like the Lamar Jackson treatment in a bit. Like, it's kind of like, he did have a rough start to the season, but so did Joe Burrow. And people were like, didn't really question Joe Burrow as much as like they wanted to question someone like Jalen, because I don't know. There's something always there, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's cultural. Maybe I don't know what it
Yeah.
is, but there's something kind of there in the background that does get him, like, he's going to have a chip on his shoulder all year, and they're a good team. They went to the Super Bowl last year. They're an amazing team. So, yeah, I'll let Andrew get to his next pick because I know we've been talking a lot of this.
Honestly, I don't have much analysis on this one. It's just kind of like my ugly pick of the week, even though I kind of already called the Patriots my ugly pick, but I'm taking the Raiders. Minus 130 on the money line. This is your typical coach fired, everything goes wrong type of game when nobody wants anything to do with them.
I love it.
The
And
sad thing is you'll watch this game too.
oh, I probably will. Yeah, I'll have whatever I have money on. I'll put that game on. But I mean, look, both teams, the offenses have struggled, but no Darren Waller this week for the Giants. I know it's kind of a nitpicky number, but they've only scored 13 or more points, the Giants, once in their last 5 games. Like, all of their games have been extremely boring. There's still weapons out there for the Raiders. There's potential.
They're so bad.
I like what I'm like. I mean, look, I don't like to be a quotes guy when betting because to me, I think people buy way too much into quotes. But all I've heard is that from the coaching staffs, the interim guys, everybody, the assistant coaches, everyone's saying we want to be exciting. We want to bring pride to this team again. We want to make sure we're a team that people are scared to come play. I just don't think the Giants will be able to trade points. Take away Darren Waller from the Giants. What do they have?
They have no way.
They've been having like a carousel of quarterbacks and things like that and injuries. And I just think this is a spot where nobody's going to want anything to do with this Raiders team. I like them at home to bounce back. This is a pride game here for I almost said Oakland Raiders, the Vegas Raiders.
No, I really like that pick too. If I was going to bet that game, it definitely would be the Raiders, but no way I'm getting anywhere near that game. No way that's getting even 3 seconds of airtime on any of my TVs, computers, phones, anything.
I don't have to watch it if I'm betting
oh,
it.
you're definitely watching it, dude. Let's be real here. And you're gonna watch that game. You're gonna be tuned in. You're gonna be in the group chat talking about it. But I respect it. The money doesn't care how ugly the game is.
Before Jimmy got benched, I was heavy. I was minus 2.5 on the Raiders before Jimmy got benched. And when he got benched, I just had your thought process. Can't put myself through it. It's just like I couldn't pick one of the Steelers, the Titans. And I was like, I cannot put myself through watching this and being like, man, why would I have put money on this team? Because I could see it either way.
I forgot to say that. I'm happy he's benched, obviously. Like, I'm happy he's not playing this week. It's Aiden O'Connell. I think that, they're going to the next man up. They're going to the younger guy. And you know what they say? You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Well, you can teach a young dog tricks. And I feel like that's kind of something we're going to see here is like a more coachable guy, someone with less of an ego. Do you guys think that, like, I actually think Jimmy G has like a low key ego. Like, he doesn't like look like he is. He doesn't really talk like he is, but like, he was just chilling with the Patriots, winning Super Bowls, like getting the rings for doing absolutely nothing. And now he has to be his own guy for different teams, and he's just not.
He's way more worried about porking porn stars and cooking his new Instagram fucking chef page, man. He's way more worried about that stuff. He's way more worried about stuffing porn stars and stuffing turkeys. Like, he doesn't care about football anymore.
Quote of the week.
Let's be
Quote
honest.
of the week.
I love it. All right, boys, let's jump into the Sunday Nighter here. We're almost through this episode. Another friggin' excellent game here, boys. Another really good game. We got the Bills at the Bengals. Like, we were saying this earlier, we got the 10:30 games unreal. We got an unreal 5:25 game, and then we got an unreal Sunday Nighter. Sundays is going to be filled with great games, but I'm going to go a little unorthodox here, and I don't know what this line's going to come out at, and I don't know why. Like, I didn't look at anything when I bet this. Like, I wasn't scrolling through trying to find something. When I saw this game, the first thing that came to my mind is Josh Allen over 0.5 interceptions. Like, I know it's probably going to be in, like, the minus, like, 120 to 140 range, but I feel like in the big games, like, this year, Josh is prone for a turnover.
Yeah.
And
Tries to be a hero.
He tries to be a hero, and I'm not picking this to kind of fill my narrative of
It's minus 160.
minus 160. So we're laying the chalk here. We're laying the chalk. I think Vegas is kind of caught up to Josh, and they know where right now you're kind of liable for a turnover. And some of his turnovers have been really bad. And I think the Bengals defense isn't all
good.
that. Like, it's good because I think Trey Hendrickson, and I forget the other fellow's name that plays on the opposite side of defensive end. Sam Hubbard. Both of those guys have been really getting after the quarterback this year, and it's kind of taken the pressure off the secondary because they lost Jesse Bates III, who was probably like a top 5 to 7 safety in the NFL, and it's kind of helped the defense take a little bit of pressure off their secondary. But I think the Bengals are probably going to get after the quarterback. The Bills' offensive line's been banged up all year. Yep. Pass interference. The Bills.
How did you realize you weren't even looking?
I saw 2 flags coming. It's always pass interference when there's 2 flags. I think the Bills' offensive line's been banged up all year, and I think it's just going to be one of those games where Josh is playing another fellow QB that's kind of in the same category as him, in the same kind of like stratosphere, we'll say. And we're going to get the typical Josh Allen try and force something, and it's going to be a turnover. I'm hoping it's early in the game to cash it, but in my heart, I feel like it's going to be late in the game when, the Bills are down and he's really trying to just force something to Stephon Diggs that's not there, and it cashes the bet. But besides that, I think this game's a toss-up, man. If you have a total or a side, like, good luck, because it could go any way.
Me and Noah are head-to-head. I know that. We talked before the pod started.
It's an easy one for me, man. Give me the Bengals -2, man. I love the Bengals team, man. This is the time of the year when the Bengals do decide to actually turn it up and become a team. Like the last 2 years, they started off the season really slow and then just started turning it on. I think Joe Burrow's back fully healthy. I think Josh will turn the ball over. I think Cincinnati's defense is a little underrated. I just like everything about this Cincinnati team. Maybe it's me I've been loving Joe Burrow in Cincinnati for the last couple of years. Maybe it's just me being that kind of guy and just sticking with it. But I'm just really on Cincinnati. I don't have a lot of numbers to really back it up, to be honest. Not like my other picks, but I just love it. And it's -2. I mean, even the sports book have it as a toss-up. So, like, you're not even going to be that bad to just take money line on one of the teams, but I just love Cincinnati. I do.
I think sometimes like your best bets are your gut. Like, I think sometimes when you, like, obviously research in betting is super important. You need to know kind of trends and historical numbers and that sort of stuff. But sometimes it's just about like the eye test, what you've seen recently, how you feel about a certain player in a certain matchup that cashes bets. I think it's very easy to get lost in numbers these days, and it's very easy to get lost in other people's quotables that fit their narrative. So I honestly like that. It's just like a from the gut. This is what I like. This is what I'm taking, and I'm willing to lose with it.
Bengals are at home, too. I mean, I know that's not a big thing. Both are cold weather cities. I mean, it's not like there's going to be anything like crazy there to give it. But Buffalo home field is pretty big for them. So, yeah, but let's hear it.
I agree with what I just want to say real quick, like what you said there. I know so many people now that don't even like talk to anybody about football until they've locked in their bets because they don't want anybody. They won't watch a podcast. They won't even watch like ESPN, TSN. Because it's so easy to get persuaded. It really is.
It's super easy. Sorry, I just had a little grin there. It's 4th and 1. Will Levis is going for it. Show me something.
I was like, what did I say? Well, what did I say wrong?
Come on, Derek. Hit that edge, Derek. Hit that edge, Derek. Come on.
Look, I mean, one thing I really do agree with you on is that, first of all, how a team starts versus how they end a season is all that matters. The middle of the season, obviously. The Bengals team that we saw to start the year off compared to the Bengals team that's playing right now is a way different team. And I'll agree with that every day of the week. You know what I mean? But they definitely have transitioned into a different team, but they've had some good games as well and had some good matchups and stuff like that. But one thing I've noticed about this Bills team recently that's different than the start of the year, even dating back to last year, they've showed up to the big games and they've played like ass in games that haven't really mattered. And like, so I look at this across all sports, NBA, NHL, no matter what it really is, like certain teams that really show up for the big games. Look at when the Bills played the Dolphins. Like that was a team that we didn't see the whole entire season.
I don't think we've seen since.
We haven't seen since, you know what I mean? So I like them, but look, I'll be straight up. I'm not actually betting on that +2. I'm taking them up to +8 on a teaser, 6-point teaser. This is -120. And I'm just going to jump right into the next one. It's the Monday night game. It's +9.5 on the Jets. So I actually have a prime time teaser with both dogs. The Chargers aren't beating anybody by more than 9.5 points. I think something's going on. with Justin Herbert. I think that they can't get their run game going right now, this Chargers team. The Jets defense, if anyone tries to question them, they just prove people wrong every single week.
It's that finger, man. Have you seen the pictures of his finger?
Herbert?
Yeah.
No.
On his not. Oh, dude. So
it's bad.
it's real. Like his. On
I've
his,
just heard he's hurt.
On his off throwing hand, his middle finger is fucked.
Yeah, it's like
It's disgusting. Like, so the first week, what they tried to do is they tried to put a glove on him. So what they had to do is they had to cut the middle finger out of the glove, and they had to stitch a 5X finger on a regular glove so it could fit in with the cast. But when they tried to take it off, it ripped the whole cast off. So they made a homemade splint for him this week, and it was literally like if you put like 3 of your fingers together was one finger with the splint on it.
Holy shit.
So last week, I think his first snap, he fumbled the ball, and they jumped back on it. But it was because he was under center, and when the center hit him, it hit him right in his finger, and he just dropped it, and he didn't line up under center for the rest of the game. It was all shotgun handoff, shotgun passes. Right. So there is something to that, right? Like, if Herbert's hurt, like, what are you going to get out of him?
Do you guys want to bet on the Chargers to beat anybody by that many points?
No, not 9.5.
I'm getting 9.5, and again, like teasers, the prices are getting crazier and crazier. Like you bet you can get 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5 with teasers. Obviously, this is a 6-point teaser, -120. Bills up and Jets up, but I think both those primetime games can stay within a touchdown. So I hope you win.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, I'm just taking it between 7.5. I think you'd agree with me. Well, maybe actually based on what we said earlier.
No.
And that's not going to be a blowout for either team. I don't think the Bengals aren't going to smoke them.
It's not. It's going to be, and I hope the fan of football in me doesn't want it to be a blowout. The betting version of me wouldn't mind that. Like, if the Bengals come out and beat them by like 40, I'd be happy because I'm gonna have money on it. But realistically, like, I do want it to be a good game, and I think it will be, just because it's two high-powered offenses. They got to show up. They know this is a matchup. This is going back to even last year in the AFC. It was a matchup before the AFC Championship, obviously.
Divisional, yeah, AFC divisional
game. So, you know, this is a matchup. It's a good matchup, and I like everything you even said about the Monday night too, because I really like this Jets team. I mean, I had a future on them at the beginning of the year. Still haven't cashed out, hoping Aaron comes back. Come on.
Show me something.
The defense is
Show me something. He's throwing a ball after 6 weeks. He'll be back.
Come on, he's gonna be back. Just
be in a wild card spot.
He's throwing bullets right
now.
now.
Wild card, man. Just give me the wild card. Come on, Zach. But no, I mean, the Jets just win games. They just randomly win games that you wouldn't think they would win, and it's all mainly because of the defense. I mean, if Zach Wilson can just be what he's been the last couple of weeks, I think that's an easy cash for you, honestly. I just like the Jets this year too, so I think we had some good picks, honestly.
I honestly didn't even get my third one out yet.
Oh yeah,
my last one.
Your Chargers one, yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry, boys. Come on, D-Hop. Get rid of that fucking ball. Don't take the sack. Come on, D-Hop.
Anyone listening just knows what happened already?
Sorry, boys. I shouldn't be watching this game while we're doing this, but fuck it.
You give out both your primetime picks the last.
So I already gave out my last one. I already gave out the Bills. It was Allen over 0.5 interceptions.
Right, yeah. Oh yeah.
But,
you said you're
for
off
the Chargers Jets game, I think this might be like kind of an unpopular pick, but I'm going over 40.5 here. I think the Chargers defense still kind of sucks. I think Zach Wilson can kind of game manage that to them, to put up anywhere from like 17 to 23 points, hopefully. I think Breece Hall has looked really good this year. I think the Chargers' run defense is like one of the worst in the league right now. So, Henry, if you knock over that camera. If Breece Hall can get going, I think it opens up a lot of lanes for Zach Wilson actually to have more success throwing the ball and them not be so one-dimensional. And I think just the Chargers' offense is dynamic. Keenan Allen's arguably the most underrated wide receiver in the league by a country mile. Austin Eckler finally had like a quote unquote welcome back game after getting hurt. He looked pretty good last week. They were actually using him a lot more in the run game than they did the week previous. So I think this just could be a game that has points. I know the primetime under has been an absolute lock this year. But I'm going against the grain on this one. I think this is two offenses that can put up enough points to cash this. And I honestly don't even care if it's a 21-20 game or if it's a 41-0 game. Like, just show me points from somewhere, and I'll live with it.
I feel like you're kind of like buying low too. Like it's a low total for any game involving the Chargers.
Yeah.
Like in general, that's a low total for, you're asking for an above average to just decent effort out of the Jets offensively, and you hit that.
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. So. But great week 9 here. Sorry you had to listen to me yell a bunch. It looks like the Titans are going to kick a field goal here. I'll take that. Just get some points on the board early. We all have field goal props, I think. But obviously, we're having fun here doing this. I look forward to doing this every week. We look forward to bringing this to you guys. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying the content. I know some of us started out real hot, others not so much, and then it kind of flipped where some of us were not doing so well, and other of us were doing great. So it's a long season. We're gonna keep giving picks, keep trying to give you guys winners. We're trying to get more diverse. I think last week I had a lot of team totals and totals. This week Noah's had a lot of team totals and totals. So we're going to give you guys a bunch of different looks at some picks. Obviously no Thursday nighter, so we were real light on the player props. I gave out one and Noah just said that he liked obviously all of Tyreek's over, which it's hard to debate against. But for week 9 of the We All Gamble podcast, powered by Mayflower Sports, I'm Jacob. This is Andrew. Noah, make sure you check us out on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you can get our content. It's there, and we look forward to seeing you in week 10.